episode of The Proud Skillworker. Today we have an opportunity to interview both Ed and Jack. Ed and Jack have been on the show with us before. We thought, though, that to end the year of 2022, we'd bring back two skill workers who have been on the show, who have been kind of all over the country in different roles and different facilities, and just get an idea of what they've been through, how the season's going to shake out for them, what the holiday plans are, and you get an idea of the impact that the cultural shift has had on them on the plant level. So, Jack, let's start with you. Where you been? How you been doing? What's life like?
So I started off this year, 2022, over in Florida, down in DeLand, Florida, working at Country Pure Foods, their orange juice facility. Then I worked there from January until May, and then in June we traveled up to Wisconsin, Mayville, Wisconsin, and I'm working at Seneca Foods at the moment. I'm having a little break right now to spend some time with some family and friends. So we're actually down in Louisiana at the moment, but we'll be headed back north in January.
Going north in January seems like a bold move, but I'll let you make your own decisions, Jack.
Yeah. I'm a bold man sometimes.
Ed, what about yourself, sir? Where you been? How's things been going?
So I'm just about finished with my second contract here in Tar Heel, North Carolina for Smithfield Foods, pork manufacturing facility. Looking forward to getting a couple weeks off and going to see the family in New York in the middle of December.
You two need to coordinate your travel a little better, guys. We go south in the winter, north in the summer. Have you got, you know what? It's fine. Let's jump in a little bit here, guys, because I'm curious to know, all in all, how has 2022 been industry-wide for you guys? Are you guys seeing a huge uptick in people coming to the industry? Or are you seeing people stepping away from the industry? Because more and more we hear as a country that people are returning back to the trades. You hear that they're trying to fill the trades. They're making it a priority. Are you seeing that on the ground floor yet?
Yeah, so I am seeing a lot of new technicians coming into the trades and you know, getting their feet in the water and learning the skills on the floor as they go. It's nice because, yeah, there's definitely a high demand for workers in industrial maintenance at the moment. We've got a lot of guys retiring and trying to fill those gaps as the younger generation comes up has been a challenge.
Ed, when you talk about people coming in and getting into industrial maintenance and getting their feet wet, are you saying people out of a trade school, without trade school background, and just have a high mechanical aptitude and high vocational ability, or kind of a hodgepodge? What's your thoughts on that?
So a lot of what we're seeing right now, a lot of what I've been seeing is people with very little skilled trades education or training. You know, we're getting people that, hey, I was a welder at one point, or I wrenched on cars when I was a kid, and learning to apply those into new machinery, into bigger and badder things.
Awesome. Jack, what about yourself? What are you seeing as you've kind of been from the furthest south to the furthest north here in the United States?
Yeah, you know, I think that our movement back into the industrial field as a country as a whole, it's starting off slow, but you know, I do feel like it is. There are people understanding that we need to get back into this field. I agree with Ed. I mean, you know, the as far as the people that are coming into the field, you know, it's kind of all over the board. You have some people that come from trade school, and then other people, you know, they don't have some of the experience, and they rely solely on, you know, other guys teaching them. And so, I mean, I don't feel like we're moving very fast, but I feel like we are slowly starting to get our workforce back.
It's interesting. And Jack, what do you think is the main factor driving young people back to the trades?
Well, I think that for the most part, the ones that are interested in the trades, you know, I really don't know how to answer that. I think that, you know, just the willingness to learn, and whenever people, you know, when people are raising their kids, everybody wants to be like dad. So the more dads are out there, working on their cars, working on their house, working on anything in front of their kids, they grow up, they see that, and then that's what they're interested in, being like dad. So
Ed, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What do you think it is that's drawing in young people?
So I can't speak for everyone. I mean, there are some kind of obvious answers to that. The pay rate is nice. The opportunity to expand, the opportunity to learn. I do think that, so I've seen a couple guys that came from production into maintenance. I think some of that draw has to do with, if you're out on the floor and you're working production and you see the maintenance guys and they're all over the building and they're, have that mindset of it doesn't matter what it is. If it breaks, it's my job to fix it. And that could be an interesting challenge to present to yourself to try to move into that, I want to be the guy who can come in and fix everything. I want to be the person who gets the line back up and running, who can climb into that giant machine and make it work again.
After we lock out, tag out.
Yes.
We lock out, tag out, we climb into the giant machine.
The other guy.
Ed, that's an interesting point because on this show, probably for the last 3 or 4 months, we've heard a common theme in that production operators and the production team are actually a valuable asset to all troubleshooters and all maintainers because those individuals are on the floor constantly with that machine. So it feels like a natural progression to come from no background into the production role to essentially get familiar with the environment. So the environment's not daunting and you're not in and out of all of these situations. And then from production, you move into this maintenance role. Has that option always been available, or are more and more facilities and maintenance teams and managers realizing, hey, our best options are probably in the building running the machines. Let's start tapping that resource. So Ed, you brought it up, so I want to push that back to you. Are you seeing maintenance teams proactively go after production teams, or production teams come to maintenance?
I'm reminded here of one of the facilities I worked 4 years ago. We had 2 maintenance techs that were probably some of the best maintenance techs I have ever known. They were brothers. They started out on the floor running production, and that facility was very short on maintenance, and they had this, I don't want to wait for maintenance to show up to fix my stuff. If it's going to be, a long period of time, I've got stuff to do. And so they started getting in and fixing their own machines. And the company was kind of given that, do we fire them? What do we do with them? And they made the maintenance. They turned out to be amazing maintenance tech. I think that option has kind of always been there. And of course, that depends on what company you're talking about. But I think it's becoming more and more of an option as the demand for skilled trade increases.
That's great. Jack, I know that you and I have talked in the past about how vital a production operator is to that troubleshooting. So is that something we've seen in the industry as kind of a career trajectory path for production people, or is that a newer trend you're seeing?
I feel like it probably has always been a career path in some production. Depends on what field of production, but no, it's definitely spiked recently. Since I've been in the field, I've definitely seen more and more people come from production over to maintenance. It's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, I think as I think about this and consider what it's like hiring and bringing people into a team, if you have a production employee who's on the team already, part of the culture, a part of already assimilated in it and knows everything that's happening, and you essentially just move them into a role that they're probably better suited for, better for them, then the value add is enormous. Is you took somebody's life and you gave them trajectory, but you also didn't disrupt kind of the ebb and flow of the whole company team. So it's really valuable. I think, as you guys grow and develop in your guys' roles and as you guys reach across the country more and more, I think that's something to consider is when people go, hey, what do we do? Maybe you two could be the voice to go, well, why not that guy who knows what he's doing?
Yeah.
Or gal. Sorry. My next question, Jack, and I want to give this over to you, is through 2022, we saw a lot of trends and we saw a lot of things kind of ramp up. We saw the retirement of a lot of baby boomers. We saw this push by not just manufacturing and technology companies, but really by the country and high schools and education facilities to push people back into the trades and trade schools. What trends do you think we'll see in 2023 to carry this movement forward, this industrial revolution, this 4.0, this huge automation push? What do you think we'll see, the number one or two trends that you think we'll see in 2023?
I'm really hoping to see, more people in the trades, more, probably maybe more higher starting rates as far as, salaries go. The training, because when you push, if you're starting to push people into the trades, the trades is a very complex field, and they have, certain areas where you have to have a lot of specifications memorized, and a lot of technical work. But then again, most of it's not technical, but you still have to have some of that specialized training. So I'm hoping to see, and I'm expecting to see more training courses out there for people just getting into it, so that they can, really start learning and knowing what they're doing. They're just not going in blind.
And Ed?
It's interesting that you put it that way, because I really wonder, some of the facilities I've worked at, they want everybody to have such a broad knowledge base. And they say, okay, if it's an electrical problem, you all need to be able to handle that. If it's a mechanical problem, you all need to be able to handle that. And other places that I've worked, they really compartmentalize the maintenance team. And so we've got designated electricians, so we've got designated mechanics, so we've got helpers that aren't as well educated, and they're working their way up in that field, but they're really the ones that are just turning wrenches or changing out quick, easy parts. I'm curious as to which way that's going to go. If we're really going to get more of that, we're compartmentalizing so that if people can have their own individual specialties, or if we're going to really push to give the training to everyone to make sure that if this goes down and everyone else is tied up, we can still go and take care of that quickly. No one can foresee the future, and I'm really curious as to which way that's going to turn.
Ed, I'm curious to know, which way would you like to see it go?
To be honest, I think the better route is more well-rounded training. If everyone has all of the skills, then it doesn't matter how many people are tied up. If you've got even one person free, they can go take on that next breakdown or continue working on that PM or whatever needs to be done. But having those specialties is a good stepping stone towards that, to say, okay, we're gonna train these people to be electricians and these people to be mechanics and these people, as time goes on and things progress, and say to the electricians, okay, hey, can we send you for a training course for mechanical engineering or for mechanical troubleshooting, and vice versa, and try to balance things out. I think having that well-rounded means that when something breaks down, if there is even one person free, there's at least one person to go work on it.
Jack, what are your thoughts on this well-rounded, fully integrated team that basically all of the pieces are the same, or specialized maintenance team?
No, I definitely agree with Ed. I mean, because of our lack in numbers going into the trades, we don't have enough people for those, departmental, the separated departments to fill the positions that we need. I know that, in previous plants that I worked at, maybe they have 4 electricians and 1 mechanic, or 5 mechanics and 1 electrical guy. Well, that 1 electrical guy or 1 mechanical guy, they need days off, and so I think that the well-rounded version of someone that kind of has knowledge of almost not everything, but most areas, is definitely more beneficial than having the departmental thing laid out. I mean, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, yeah, departmental places worked great, but this is a different day and age. And like I said, our numbers are decreasing daily. I mean, baby boomers are, like you said, baby boomers are retiring, and we're losing people way faster than we're gaining. So the well-rounded people definitely would be a better route to go.
I think there's two parts to this, Jack. I think that one driving this is actually the change in the equipment we're working on and that we're seeing on the manufacturing floors. Is it used to be fairly simple pieces of equipment doing complex tasks, but there was a lot of them. So it was this one machine does project A and then project B and then project C, but it's three different machines that are doing fairly simple things. Conveyor runs from point A to point B. Now you have these robots that can take an item, pick it up, spin it, throw it in the air, catch it on the right cycle, stuff it into a package, and put it down the line. And so you have something that's constantly moving but doing something different. So you have to change the way you do maintenance if you're going to change the way you run a maintenance line. And Ed, as you talked about trying to find these people who can be these multi-crafts, it led me to question, how do we convince people it's best for themselves to diversify? Because everybody wants to be a subject matter expert. Everybody wants to be really good at what they do. But when you take on a lot, it becomes really hard to be really good. So how do you get people to buy into being pretty good at a lot of things versus really good at one thing? And Ed, I'll turn it over to you because I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit. Is how do you convince people that's the right thing to do?
I have a background in automation, and I went to ITT Tech for electronics engineering. Some of the new machinery that you see rolling in on the floor these days can seem really overwhelming, but it is essentially motors and servos and gears and pulleys and things that we've been seeing all along. The problem is the technology that's driving it has skyrocketed. We went from, I have been to facilities that still use relay boards that are just a rat's nest of wires, and that giant 4x8 sheet of plywood with hundreds of relays nailed to it is now replaced by a box that's smaller than my head. Having made that transition can seem really overwhelming, but in all honesty, this stuff isn't super difficult to work on, and a lot of the time we don't on the floor. I know how to program PLCs. I almost never do it because usually it's just dump the old program into the new PLC and you're running again. As far as specialization goes, I would stop pushing the mindset of, well, you're going to specialize as an electrician, you're going to specialize as a mechanic, and start pushing the mindset of, well, I specialize as an industrial maintenance technician. And so my job is to know all of the machinery in there. It's to know how all of it works, how to troubleshoot it, and how to get it running again.
I like that. Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I agree everything with Ed said. And another mindset to add to that would be, quit focusing on for them that want to be the electricians or just the mechanic or, just the PLC guy. That mindset is also thinking about themselves. When you start thinking more as a team player, being part of the team for the whole department or the whole company or the whole plant, whatever you're working at, that's going to, when you start thinking that you're there to do whatever the team needs, whether it's, fix this machine, hold a flashlight, it don't matter, whether you're an electrician, mechanic, PLC guy, if something breaks, you jump in and you work together, you get it done. And that's part of being a team, and that's what it's going to take to, be successful to any team. Any team's success relies on each team member. The more well-rounded people you have on a team, the better that team is,
I think that's really good. I think it's really, really cool to hear you two tell your stories side by side, because you're in dramatically different environments, you're in dramatically different cultures, and significantly different geographical regions experiencing the same thing. So it's safe to assume these problems are permeating, or these situations are not problems, they're challenges, are permeating throughout the nation. But what both of you are saying is that people should work on specialize in being industrial maintenance technicians, not as an individual, but also specialized teammates. And that if you're able to come to a point where you can be a really good teammate who's really well rounded, you are an asset to everybody in every industry that you come in contact with. And I think hearing you both say something to that effect really resonates, because there's so many people who are like, well, what's best for me? Probably a lot of things, but what's best for your team? What's best for your family? What's best for where you need to go in the future? Really, really, really cool to see. So, man, I'm just excited. I think this is the part of the podcast, guys, where I'm going to jump in and just talk about what's the holidays looking like for you guys. What are you guys going to do with family? Jack, you already indicated you're taking some time off. You're kicking your feet up. You spend some time with your horse. You're going to stay warm. Hopefully, store some of that in your bones, and just so that when you get up north, you don't freeze. Ed, you're doing the same. You're going up north to family. But Jack, what's the holiday plans? How's the family doing? How are they going to handle all of this change and this transition as you work through the holidays or don't work? What's that like?
Well, so I'll be off almost 2 months, about a month and a half, and we're my family. They've been excited to see us. I mean, most of them haven't seen us in a year because we've in Florida. Been in Florida since August of 2021, and we briefly came down last Christmas. Didn't really see everybody, but then we went back to Florida, and then we came up to Wisconsin. So a lot of them haven't seen us in a long time. Me and my wife, we have 18 nieces and nephews, so we're definitely almost, maybe 19. And we'll be spending a lot of time with them. Man, good food and great company. That's what, and good. We'll be glad to see a lot of friends too.
That's great. I love it. I think that's something everybody needs to keep in mind, Jack, is balancing your life. Your professional career is great. Your family is better. It's these things that we all have to realize the value in. And so, Ed, what about yourself, sir? What's the holidays look like?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've been, as we've been talking about this entire show, we're so short of people that the people that are in the field are working all the time, and I don't feel like I've gotten to spend a lot of time with family. So I'm definitely looking forward to going to New York and celebrating my father's birthday and seeing the family for Christmas and getting some time to catch up on other stuff. I got some work to do on my truck and some work to do around the house back in PA, and it'd be nice to get all that done.
Really, really excited, guys, to hear both of you guys taking advantage of what we here at Skillwork feel is a beautiful model. The work plus freedom is, hey, work's important. All right. We were put on this earth to work. I mean, we are to work, but we also are put on this work to serve our family. So,
Sure.
You put in a lot of long days, a lot of long hours. I know that. But both of you just indicated, man, then you can check out for a little bit, kick your feet up and go do what you need to and take some free time. So, Jack, let's end the podcast this way, because I think we're wrapping up here at the end, and I want to end it on a positive note. What's the number one thing you're most grateful for in 2022, Jack?
Number one thing I'm most grateful for is my wife and my career. The Lord has just blessed me with the best wife, most supportive person, and best friend that I could ever have. And of course, I'm thankful for my family and my friends and my animals. For this country, I'm thankful for this country too.
Thanks so much, Jack. Ed, don't steal his answer, but also don't get yourself in trouble by not stealing his answer. What are you most thankful for in 2022?
Man, the entire time you were talking, I racked my brain, like, how can you put me in that spot? I have to pick one. Like, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for our Creator for putting me in this place and giving me these opportunities. And I'm super thankful for Skillworks. This is my first year with Skillworks, and it has been awesome.
I love it, guys. I think, because I'm not immune to my own question, and it's probably fair to ask, I will answer. 2022, I'm most grateful for change has been a blessing. Across all of 22, we've seen a variety of change. We've seen a variety of things come and go. But at the end of every one of them, change has been a blessing. It's no short thing to say that our spouses and our families support us in every way in everything that we do. Without them, we essentially do nothing, because I think we would crumble at the base. So our foundation is in what it is. It's in Christ. It's in our family. But
that's right.
Knowing that change is a blessing, guys. And I appreciate you guys coming on the show. I appreciate everything that we do for you guys, and that you guys see value. That's my 2022 goal, and that's been my 2022 kind of nugget that I take away, is change is a blessing. Anything you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you guys for being on the show, and thank you to all of you who are listening, who are watching, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube or any other platform. We really appreciate you being a part of this. 2022 was our first year of the Proud Skill Worker. We'll continue into 2023. We'll continue to launch these episodes and keep our finger on the pulse, both on the manufacturing floor level and just across the general feel of the technician. So thank you all.